Hey guys, it's Jim here, and welcome to a rather unusual video of mine. You see, a few weeks ago, a viewer asked if I could do a best weapon for each battle rating, or rather, set up for each soldier per battle rating, given that not all soldiers can carry all weapons. So I thought, oh yeah, I can give my 2 cents on this topic. Well, mostly for Germany, since Germany is the only faction I actually grinded. So before I begin, here are a few disclaimers. 1. This video is of update 0.6.5.128, Tigers of Burma. If you're watching this at a later update, Darkflow may have made some changes to the topic in question. Number 2. This video is based on my personal opinion and experience. If you wish to follow it wholeheartedly, be my guest. If you wish to make some minor adjustments to fit your style, go right ahead. But if you disagree completely, there's nothing wrong with that, and maybe comment why you disagree. Number 3. As much as I should be featuring them, no, I will not be including the new guerrilla fighters, as they are new and I don't really have them yet. I can comment on their weapon, but I might be wrong. Number 4. No, I will not be including any premiums or battle pass weapons, as not everybody has them, and neither am I going to encourage you to buy them. And finally, originally I included planes in the list, but due to the update changing the planes mechanics, as well as me not playing all the planes, especially at N tiers, I decided to cut it all out. I'm sure there are players out there who can explain aircraft better than I do. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. So starting off with battle rating 1, of course, you have your starter rifles, the Gewehr 3340. I know it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but if I can be honest though, both action rifles, especially early game, have very minimal difference between each other. And if that's the case, I'd rather you save up the silver investing in something else rather than aesthetics. It has the one-shot down or kill damage, with a higher chance of killing than downing. Manual bolt cycling has a slower rate of fire, 5 rounds fixed magazine, available to all classes but issued mainly to engineers, riflemen, radio operators, mortar crew and anti-tank soldiers. But if you really want a different bolt action rifle that isn't the starter Gewehr 3340, then you can invest in the Kar 98 instead. Apart from its slightly higher round velocity, it's hardly any different. Next up, snipers. Just no. But if you want a better sniper rifle for battle rating 1, I suggest the Sniper Kakano rifle. Mainly because the iron sights are easier to use than the Kar 98, and you reload with on-block clips instead of bullet by bullet. But if you don't want to go out of your way to get it, then sticking to this Sniper Kar 98 is fine. Next on the list of battle rating 1 guns, for the assaulters, we have the MP34, an early submachine gun that is definitely a big step from the starter submachine gun. Standard 2 shots down or kill damage, 450 rounds per minute, nice open sights, and a 32 round magazine, unlike a certain game that no longer exists. No particular game. It does however have a rather strong recoil per shot, but you can either tap right mouse button to aim, or you can upgrade it, since it's not too expensive. Alternatively, you can opt for the Beretta M38A instead, 600 rounds per minute, more stable and very accurate, but it has a 20 round magazine, which is something I would not pair with that rate of fire. As well as at this moment you're still stuck using the medic squad as your main assaulters, so total ammo is a problem. Next up is the anti-tank rifles. Unfortunately for battle rating 1, the anti-tank rifles are not the most golden thing ever, and the Germans had it worse. And yes, I know, the boys anti-tank rifle has the worst penetration, but considering what the Germans face versus what the Western Allies face, yeah. But if I'm making a battle rating 1 setup or still grinding out battle rating 1, I would pick the Panzerlied 39. Although there's no real difference between the 38 and the 39, both penetrating 35mm of armor, 1 bullet at a time, apart from one having to reload every 10 rounds, both cost the same buying and upgrading. As well as having actually tested this, having reload or bolt cycling buff will not affect its rate of fire, only the tier 2 upgrade. Then if that's the case, you may as well pick the top choice, or just buy one of each in passing. Next, mortars. There's like only one of them, so just use it. Next up, tanks. If I'll be honest, I really would not use any of these battle rating 1 tanks. Especially since each team can only spawn 2 tanks at a time, and I would rather let someone who has a battle rating 2 tank spawn theirs, and definitely not someone with a Panzer 2C. Have fun dealing with a Crusader with that thing. But if there's really no choice or no one is spawning a tank when armor support is needed, then the only tank I can suggest is the Panzer 3J. A medium tank with a 50mm front, very effective armor when facing smaller calibers like the 37mm or the 45mm. Then spotting the short 50mm, using armor piercing that could pen around 70 to 75mm of armor at short range. And high explosive, its splash is kinda small, but it can still get the job done. And if you're wondering, why not the Simo Vente M41? It's using a 75mm, and its armor piercing pens more than the short 50mm with more explosive filler. What's wrong with it? Well, despite having a 75mm cannon, you only have armor piercing and smoke. Nothing else. No high explosive, no heat, you don't even have a mounted machine gun. You destroy an enemy tank? Then what? Moving up, Battle Rating 2. For rifles, in Battle Rating 2, you can opt for the Armageddon Mod 39, a semi-auto rifle that one-shots down or kill to the chest, decently stable and reload is fast as it uses an on-block clip. Sounds pretty nasty, but remember that this is Battle Rating 2. There's a reason why this rifle is here. When I say one-shot, it's a very sketchy one-shot. Any factors like the target at 80 meters, or you hit the limbs, or the player has health boost perk, will immediately make this a two-shot. As well as it using a 6-round clips, which for a semi-auto rifle is one of the smallest clips. And since it's chambered in the Italian 6.5mm cartridge, its round velocity is just sad. So for Battle Rating 2, if you wanna stick to the bolt action rifles instead, be my guest. For the assaulters, obviously go for the Beretta M1. Because honestly speaking, the three Battle Rating 2 submachine guns barely perform differently from each other. They all fire at around 500 rounds per minute, do 5.7 points of damage, stable, accurate, open sights. But the reason why I picked the Beretta M1 is mainly because it has the biggest magazine of the three at 40 rounds. And if they all cost about the same, you may as well pick the top choice. However, if you are not new to this game and have already invested in the MP40s or the MP38s, then just roll with them. It's not worth reinvesting for just 8 extra bullets. Now something to keep in mind is that these submachine guns are at tier 3, meaning that you may not get them just yet. Cause minimum tier requirement. So if that's the case, when you're still in tier 2, what you can use instead are the PPSH Obres, or if you don't like its recoil, the FNAB 43. PPSH of course is the legendary 1000 rounds per minute submachine gun. But unfortunately with its stock sawn off, I'd imagine the recoil is very insane. Yeah, something about 14 points horizontal recoil. The FNAB 43 is basically Italian grease gun. Slow rate of fire but accurate and stable, so you don't burn ammo or miss half your bursts. Or if you really don't want to spend silver on tier 2 submachine guns, then you can always use the MP34 all the way through. Next up, light machine guns. Ooh. Of course, pick the MG13. Doing one-shot damage, yes, light machine guns are that scary, up to 100 meters in range, fires at 600 rounds per minute, recoil even without bipod is very manageable, and open sights. Everything you could ask for from a light machine gun. Now I know some players may prefer the ZP26 for its accuracy and high rate of fire, but I personally am not fond of it. Mainly because of the high rate of fire, the gun comes with a 20-round magazine. As well as it being a top-fat design, meaning your field of vision is limited. Next up, anti-tank projectile launchers. And yes, buy them. But which one to invest? For me personally, I use the Sturmpistole, but the Granatbuchse works just as well, with some up and downs between them. The Sturmpistol, pen 70mm, short range, but it's not like a sniping with this thing, and standard irons. However, you don't have a lot of ammo for it, and the reload is really long. The Granatbuchse, pens 80mm, long range, very long range, a butt ton of ammo for some reason, faster reload. However, busy iron sights and you can't really sprint with this thing out, unlike the Sturmpistol. So which one you want to use is entirely up to you. Just get rid of the damn anti-tank rifles already. Next up, tanks. There are two good tanks to pick, but I suggest the Panzer 3N. Panzer 3N has the short 75mm, which I describe as a mini howitzer. And it's exactly as it sounds. See a group of infantry or a building full of them, load high explosive and you won't see them anymore. As well as having 70mm thick armor and battle rating too. The problem is that the armor-piercing shell doesn't really pen too well. It does have heat shells that can pen Shermans from the front, but you only have 7 of them. Alternatively, you can use the Panzerlied, same armor as the Panzerlied from before, but now has the more powerful 50mm, so dealing with T50s or M3 Lees is easier. Just that the 50mm high explosive, now comparing with the 75mm, will feel like it's lacking. Moving up, better rating 3. So for rifles, at this point you should be inching away from the bolt actions and start investing in semi-autos, considering that the fights in close quarters are getting more aggressive. So of course, the Gavek 41 rifle, which is a good step into better rating 3 and a good introduction to better rating 4 matches. One shot damage up to about 90 meters, 10 round magazine and open sights. Just be careful that it's using the full size 8mm Mauser, resulting in a stronger recoil, and you reload using 2 stripper clips. Alternatively, you can try the VG-15, which I describe its performance as a German M1 carbine. 2 hit damage, decent accuracy at medium range, open sights, 30 round stick magazine. But it is an optional grind, so you may have to go out of your way to get it. But it's worth trying out if you're interested. Now for assault weapons, same thing. If you can't go up to tier 4 yet for the better rating 3 guns, yes, I know it's confusing, then just stick with the Beretta M1 or the MP40 for the time being. But when you get to tier 4, look no further than the ZK383. 2 shot damage, accurate, nice open size, and fires at 700 rounds per minute, with upgrades bumping it up to 810. And for a gun that fires this quickly, it's actually pretty damn stable. And it comes with a bipod. And as a cherry on top, this is the first tier 4 gun you get. So good in fact that if I didn't want to make videos for the Beretta M30A, 40 rounds or the Kirali 39M, I would have actually used this till I got the machine carbines. Alternatively, you can use the MP35, does slightly more damage than most 9mm submachine guns, but it has a long and unusual reload, and for a slower firing gun, it hits pretty hard, even at shorter ranges. Next up, light machine guns. There's actually only one of them, so yeah, just use it. But it's not a bad thing though, it's the MG34. Like all light machine guns, it has that one-shot damage at long ranges, fires up to 800 rounds per minute, and with bipod deployed, very accurate and stable. Only issue is the iron sights where the range post kinda blocks the view a little. But other than that, it's a very solid light machine gun. Next, the introduction of the flamethrower. And there's like only one of them. Anyway, for better rating 3 or worse, up tier to better rating 4, I highly recommend switching your anti-tank weaponry to the Panzerforce 60 as soon as possible. Not because it's more iconic, but it's an anti-tank weapon that hits harder than a Latino mum armed with a chancla. Penning up to 180mm of armor, you can now tear up Shermans and T-34s from the front, and maybe some heavy tanks like the KV-1. And yes, you can sprint with it. Now for tanks, I say the Panzer-4G. 80mm of armor, kinda meh for the better rating, but the firepower pretty much pens Shermans and T-34s no problem. As well as it's using a 75mm caliber, so high explosive can do some serious work. But why not the other Panzer-4s? Well, the Panzer-4J is at a higher tier, and I assume at the time you may not be able to advance yet. Plus, I'm not sure if there's a real difference in having an extra roof-mounted machine gun, or why is the Panzer-4H better rating 4? And yes, I know they have spaced armor, effective in hindering anti-tank rifles, but at this better rating, who the hell is still using anti-tank rifles? Next up, better rating 4. The rifle choice might generate debate, but personally for me, I picked the Gavek 43. One shot down on kill, good range, decent accuracy, open sights, magazine reload unlike its predecessor. Only downside is that it doesn't come with a bayonet. That's about it. Alternatively, you can pick the ZH-29 rifle. Stronger damage, but it is still a one shot down on kill. Good range, magazine reload, but accuracy is slightly off and the iron sights, although open, it's a little fat, and the visual recoil can throw you off. But in the end, both works, so just pick whichever you prefer, better damage or better accuracy. Speaking of accuracy, finally, snipers get their semi-auto rifle. the Sniper Gewehr 43, which honestly is not something I would snipe with, mainly because semi-autos are not as accurate as bolt actions. So maybe ranges at 70 meters or less is best, otherwise just stick to the bolt actions. Now assault weapons, there's like only one of them in battle rating 4, the Beretta M38 40 round magazine. I mean, the gun is pretty good, 600 rounds per minute, accurate, stable, open size, as a 40 round magazine instead of the 20 round, but considering the other faction's weapon at the same BR or what comes before this weapon, it feels like it doesn't belong in battle rating 4. I even describe this thing to be like the Soviet PPS 42, only instead of battle rating 2, it's stuck at battle rating 4. And because of that, just use the ZK383. Next up, machine guns. Of course, I go with the MG42, 900 rounds per minute, stable, accurate, more open sights, good range. The only downside, however, is that despite having a 50 round drum, it somehow feels lacking. I'm not exactly sure why. So if you're using the MG42, remember to fire in bursts and keep an eye on your ammo. Alternatively, you can opt for the MG34 Patronentrommel, basically an MG34 with a bigger magazine. But honestly, apart from having said bigger magazine, there's really no difference between this gun and the MG34 and battle rating 3. And if that's the case, then you may as well invest in the MG34 from before at a lower price, both buying and upgrading. The 50 rounds is big enough for its rate of fire. Anti-tank weaponry pretty much ends here, with two choices, and in my opinion, since they both cost the same, I say invest in the best of the line, which is the Panzerforce 100. More or less like its predecessor, but it pans up to 220mm of armor. Seriously, what tank has that kind of armor? And up next, flamethrower. Again, there's like only one, so just use it. For tanks, honestly, there isn't really a competition. Like, why would anyone want a Panzer 4 and battle rating 4? So obviously, the best pick would be the Panther G. Good armor, strong cannon that can knock out almost every tank from the front. Only downside is that it's the size of a tugboat, so it's hard for hostile pilots to miss, and hard to counter any flanking infantry. Or if you really don't want to invest into tanking too much, you can just settle with the Panther A. Finally, battle rating 5. Just grab the 4mm Gewehr 42 Mark II. Full auto, light machine gun accuracy, high rate of fire, one-shot damage. Only downsides are its 20 round magazine, and its recoil make full auto hard to use at longer ranges. Although you could use its bipod and turn it into a light machine gun. And of course, the iron sights are a little off. Alternatively, you can go for the early version, just be careful of its much stronger recoil. And of course, assaulters. And what other weapon than the Sturm Gewehr 44? Short range, mid range, long range, 2-shot down a kill with good stability, 650 rounds per minute, like everything you could ask for in an assault weapon. What else is there for me to say? Unless of course you don't like the high rate of fire causing you to burn ammo too rapidly, you could always stick to the MKB-42, pretty much the SCG-44 but with a slower rate of fire. Speaking of assaulters, snipers. Finally, snipers have an incentive to actually play the game, by equipping with either a sniper machine carbine or a sniper FG-42. I mean, sniper FG-42 works if you're long ranging. Meanwhile, the sniper machine carbine is more like having an optic rather than having a sniper. Of course you could take the scope off, but then what would be the point in grinding a sniper? Next up, machine gun. And here you have two choices, an MG15 or an MG42 100 rounds. Which one you prefer? I will leave this one to you. MG15 fires up to 1200 rounds per minute, has a 75 round drum magazine, and a spider web for an iron sight. MG42 100 rounds is like the one before, 900 rounds per minute but a 100 belt instead of a 50 round drum. Both of them works, like machine gun doing like machine gun things. So it's down to this question, which do you trust more or prefer in the match? Rate of fire or ammo? But if you want my personal opinion, I say just take the MG42, and not because it's iconic, mainly because I find that 800 rounds per minute is already like solid enough. 900 rounds per minute is pushing it, 1200 rounds per minute. You're just wasting ammo at that point. Next up, mortar. Yup, up until now you finally managed to upgrade to a new mortar. A big one. One that can take out tanks if it lands correctly. Moving on. Speaking of tanks, yes, it's obvious, just go for the Tiger 2H. Probably the strongest armor as well as the hardest hitting gun in the game in one package. And the best part? You don't have to worry about heat FS shells. Right, War Thunder? I mean, one downside is that it is a giant vehicle, so you can be spotted pretty easily by basically everybody. But if it's gonna be a while before you get it, there's nothing wrong with running the Tiger E for the time being instead. So to sum it all up, battle rating 1, Gewehr 3340 or Kar 98 if you want to invest in both actions, MP34, Panzerbuchse 39, Panzer 3J. Battle rating 2, Armageddon Mod 39, Beretta M1, MG13, Granatbuchse or Stone Pistol, Panzer 3N. Battle rating 3, Gewehr 41, ZK383, MG34, Panzer 460, Panzer 4G. Battle rating 4, Gewehr 43 or ZH29 if you like, Beretta M38 40 rounds or just use the ZK383, MG42, Panzer Force 100, Panther A or G. And finally, battle rating 5, Porsche Maker Gewehr 42 Mark II, Sturmgewehr 44 or MKB 42, MG15 or MG42 100 rounds, the same Panzer Force 100 from before, and Tiger 2H. And there you have it, what I use or would use for each and every battle rating. Again, if you agree and wish to follow it wholeheartedly, be my guest. But if you don't, feel free to comment on why you think an alternative is better. And before I close, if you're wondering why don't I include sidearms or shotguns, I kinda have plans to make separate videos for them. And most of the time, you're not really using them anyway. But otherwise, that's all I gotta say about setting up battle ratings. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you guys next time. Bye!